Good evening and welcome to Create a Life You Love with Sarah Shakespeare. Thank you very much for joining me tonight. If you haven't joined me before, I'm going to just spend a few minutes talking about everything that I do, who I am, just so you're more familiar with everything about me. If you follow me on Facebook and Instagram, you already know a lot about me because I do talk about different areas of my life and what I've done over the last few years. I have been in the health and fitness industry for 25 years and I love it. I used to do personal training at a time when nobody knew what a personal trainer was. They asked if I actually got paid to train people and actually go over their nutrition with them, do their coaching with them. So I did it at a time where people didn't know what personal training was for a job. So really happy that at last it became a serious job for everybody and everybody realised that other people did need help in getting their fitness goals in order, getting their life in order. So it's been the perfect career choice for me over the years. I have lived in Canada. You can hear I'm English, but I've lived in Canada since the year 2000, and I call that my millennium move. So very, very happy to be here. I go back to England some of the time, but I'm very, very happy every time to get back on the plane back to British Columbia. And I moved here with my husband and I have 3 children, so have quite a busy life on the other side of what I do as well. One thing that I'm really, really interested in doing is helping people create a life they love. So when I had the opportunity to do a show, what I decided on the name, it took me about 1 minute to think about what name I wanted to use. And Create a Life You Love was important to me because I didn't just want to have a fitness and nutrition show. I wanted to have a show that had people thinking about what they would want to do to create a life they love. And I realised that that means different things to different people. So I wanted to be able to offer listeners the opportunity to pick up lots of different ideas. So every guest that I have on my show, every single time I hope that you walk away with something that you didn't have in the first place. So anything that you learn, I want you to be able to make notes and think about getting in touch with that person afterwards and just being able to make that connection because they're going to help you create a life that you love. So every single person that comes on isn't necessarily related to fitness and nutrition. They're related to goal setting, inspiration, motivation, and anything that's going to help you move forward with a positive mindset. Now, one thing that I've been doing on my Facebook recently is I've started a 75 video I guess just a series really of 2-minute videos of what I talk about each day because I think that everybody's got 2 minutes to listen to something. So if you want to spend time and go onto my Facebook page and have a look at my 2-minute videos that I put on each day, I'm on about number 34, I want to say, out of 75. So if you haven't listened to any yet, then you've got 34 to listen to. And I just give my different opinion about different things, all geared towards a positive mindset, self-care, nutrition, life. So anything you think that there is to talk about, then I will be talking about that on my video. Instagram, as you know, is pictures galore, so you'll see lots of me on Instagram as well. So follow me on Instagram. I'm also on Twitter. So if you do Twitter, then I do tweet on there every day as well. So that's how you can find out what I'm doing. If you need to have one-on-one contact me and you prefer an old-fashioned phone call, then my number is 250-864-2936. So if you want to call me and talk to me about anything to do with personal training, coaching, speaking, and retreats or anything like that, then I'm the person that you need to speak to there. What I like to do in every show is give you some things to think about that I'd like you to take with you just from me. And the 3 points that I have today is good nutrition, self-care, and positive mindset. So looking at the good nutrition, I really believe that good nutrition goes a long way to making you energized. One thing I talk about is being full of yourself, but not in an arrogant way, but just in an energetic way. And if you're full of yourself, then I believe that you're able to give to others. So think about how nutrition plays a really, really great part in who you are and the energy that you have. And just your fitness and body goals, they have so much to do with your nutrition. So if you need help with that, look into getting help if you're not really sure on what to do. Have a look at the good nutrition and understand that it is very true that you are what you eat. It is very true. It sounds very to the point and very blunt, but definitely you are what you eat. It's something that you really need to think about. You also know I'm on the 100-year plan. So I talk about being here for 100 years. And I think if you're on a plan to be here for a long time, you really need to look at your health and fitness in a big way and really, really take it seriously. It doesn't mean that you have to be obsessed with it or go over the top with it, but you do need to give yourself some time to achieve those fitness goals each week, which leads me into self-care. So spending time on yourself is necessary and not selfish. So a lot of people think self-care is selfish and they're taking away from their friends and family and they don't want to spend that extra time on themselves, but they really should, even if it's for 15 minutes a day. It doesn't mean that you've got to neglect every single person around you. It just means that you have to spend some time on yourself. And what you need to do, you need to spend time and think about what self-care means to you. Now, self-care personally to me means my workouts, my nutrition, my tea drinking time with my friends. Like I do like to meet friends for tea. It's a big deal for me to do that. So lots of tea time for me is really a big deal. I like to go to the beauty salon. I like to go to the hairdresser. So things like that. I'm not big into meditation and yoga. I know I should be a bit more, but that's not something I've really gone into. But I know a lot of my friends do that and really realise that self-care is great. And then I want to move on to a positive mindset. I believe that if you have a positive mindset, then things can be amazing for you. Because if you look on the bright side, it doesn't mean that you're looking at everything through rose-coloured glasses. I think it just means that you're willing to look on the best side of the best outcome first. Now, I've been very lucky because I had a positive mindset instilled in me as a child. So I luckily have been going through my life with a positive mindset right from the beginning. So that's why I talk a lot about that during my videos that I do each day, just to try and give people a boost on that positive side of things. I do believe in the law of attraction and how everything comes from how you think, how you manifest things, and how you bring that energy up in a positive way. So think about positive mindsets, and definitely, I've talked about this previously on the show about who you surround yourself with makes a big difference to your positive mindset. So really think about what's going to help with that, whether it's the people that you surround yourself with, or it is books that you need to read, or just a bit more time spent on yourself and a bit more thinking about what you want to do on your own there. Now, one thing I love to do, because I love to talk and don't ever come up for air just for a minute. I love to do public speaking, and I always feel like I have a lot to say in different areas. And one thing that I really like to talk about is having a life where your glass is full. So instead of me saying, do you have a glass that's empty or full, I like to say that you're lucky to have a glass. So if we've got this glass, then what are we going to do with it? So my keynote speech that I talk about is, it's called Mindset, Self-Care and Ambition Can Create a Beautiful Life. And all of my speeches are geared around motivation, self-care, good health, positive thinking and fitness and goal setting, and how that way you can create a life that you love. So again, that's why I went into calling my show this. I really love to speak because I really like to be able to associate with different people and see if there's something that they do that they can take away with them. And then they come to me at a later date and say, you know what, Sarah, you said something that was really, really helpful to me at that time. So that's my goal, is so people can sit in the audience and come away and, have some value at that time. I first joined a gym 25 years ago and loved it straight away. I just loved it. It felt like the place for me to be. I loved the results that I got from going to the gym, and I loved the positive outlook that it gave me as well. So I've always had an interest in exercise and nutrition. So I've always believed right from a young age that your mindset leads to action. So if you set your goals in place and take action in whatever form you believe is the right way to achieve them, then I think that you're going to be able to get what you want in life. And it all takes patience and time. So that's a big thing as well. Think about your patience and how that plays a big part in where you're going to get. I'd also like to talk a little bit more now about my guest that I have coming on tonight. He is amazing. I met him a couple of years ago, and when I was thinking about putting my show together and I wanted to think about what guests that I wanted on, it wasn't long before I got in touch with Ryan, because I find him extremely interesting. The things that he does is not what everybody does, and you're going to find out a lot about that tonight. He is doing amazing things through through his fitness level throughout his life. He's done some amazing things, and I don't even know how he's got through these last few years, working his body so hard and doing so much. And I think that it's really great for us to have this opportunity to talk to him, because I don't know anybody that's walked up these mountains as much. I don't know anybody that's done this intense training as much. So it's been great. I think we're going to get some great, answers out of him tonight, and just in the motivation that he's had over these last few years. So in this, in the episode tonight, we're going to be talking about preparation for expeditions and strategies that he actually puts together during his expeditions as well, and what he does afterwards. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about Ryan before I get him on the air here. Ryan, Summit Ryan, so his nickname is Summit, so we're going to call him that tonight, even though I'm used to calling him Ryan, is a 5-time finisher of the Ironman Canada triathlon and a 4-time marathon finisher. He has climbed Mount Rainier in Washington State, as well he has reached the summit of 18 of Colorado's peaks, over 14,000 feet, in 12 consecutive days. Currently, Summit is preparing for expeditions to climb in Argentina 3 times in 4 weeks, Kilimanjaro in Tasmania, I can't even pronounce Tasmania, 3 times in 3 weeks, and Mount Everest in Nepal 3 times in 6 weeks. So he's doing amazing things, even to hear that, what he has even lined up, is just so great. So we will talk with him tonight about what he's done, how he's got there, and what his plans are that are coming up. So hi Ryan, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for your kind words, and I greatly appreciate the invitation to be here.
No, good. I'm very, very happy to have you on. As you can see, I've got lots of great things that I'd like to ask you about tonight, because I do think that everything that you're doing is helping people create a life they love. And I know that's what I want people to go away with tonight. And does it mean they're going to climb Everest? Maybe not, but it might inspire them to run a 10K race or train for something or do something charitable with their time. I know there's some things that you do with that. So I know there's going to be things that are going to be helpful towards people tonight. Tell us about when you were a boy and you liked to do your own thing, and you almost went against the grain in many things. Tell us a bit more about that when you go way back to being in elementary school.
Yes, yeah. So looking back when I was a young boy, actually if we go right back to even at the time when I was born, NASA was landing their Apollo lunar missions, the Apollo 16 and Apollo 17 lunar missions at that time. And so that was somewhat of a common occurrence during that era. And as I was a child, a young boy, I had the Lego, the NASA lunar Lego set. And so, and then in elementary school, I made this very crude, basic space helmet as a costume one time. But it's just the fact that space travel, walking on the moon, was not common, but it was something that was done. And so even though consciously I didn't think I want to be an astronaut, I guess it just put it in me that that was a possibility. People do that. It is possible to be done. And then from there, I always enjoyed sports, riding my BMX bike growing up and riding all over the neighborhood. Fortunately, where my parents lived, there were lots of rural roads. I could just go out riding, and we built jumps and all that kind of things that boys do. And then started going into, as I grew up, going into running, and then eventually into triathlon as I got into my teens and that. And so, and as she had mentioned about kind of going against the grain and often going to the beat of my own drummer.
Yes.
Again, not consciously doing it, but it's just me being myself. And often, if the whole class of kids, if they were all chocolate, I was the only one who was vanilla.
Yeah.
and just, going in the opposite direction, and not to be a rebel, but it was just, that was where I was called, or that's where I felt that was my direction. And so then as I became a teenager, started looking into taking up triathlon. And when I was 16, I wanted to do my first triathlon. But when I was 18, I actually did my first international distance triathlon, which for those who may not know, the international distance is a 1.5 kilometer swim, 40 kilometer bike ride, and a 10 kilometer run.